Well, what a load of rubbish. Right, today we're in the £100 Nissan Micra and there's a load of stuff in the boot that needs to be tested, thrown away and generally sorted out. We're keeping this tyre though because this is surprisingly useful. So let's start by separating the things that are definitely and obviously rubbish, such as this cabin filter from a Skoda that I replaced recently. Don't need that, so that can go in the bucket of rubbish. And also, as I recall, yeah, I kept these bits of wire here because I had some thought that I might use them to fix the Nissan Micra P12. Didn't need them in the end, so they too can go in there. Well, I'll keep the bungee cord, that's useful enough. Number plates, not for this car. Now, as I recall, oh, that's rubbish, isn't it? Yeah, that's a dead gas strut, again from the prime mirror, so we don't need that. But something that takes up a lot of space, and we definitely don't need any more, is this expansion tank from the Micra that I replaced some considerable time ago, so that can be recycled. Well, we need that, that's the radio. Should pop that back in place actually over there. Keep it out of the way and keep it safe. There we go. Now, what may or may not be rubbish is this battery. So let's test it and find out, because clearly there's no point keeping it if it's a complete dud. So here's the battery analyzer, and to use it, all we do is pop the red clamp onto the positive terminal of the battery and the black clamp onto the negative terminal, and then it springs to life. Can you see the screen all right there? So we're measuring about 12.5 volts, which is an encouraging start. So let's run a test on the battery. So battery test. The battery is out of the vehicle. It's a regular. We need to put that into EN mode, and we need to knock this down to, what is it, 330, which is there, and run the test. This will be interesting. Okay, it says good battery. Well, that's weird. This battery is certainly an odd one. Long story short, there was a time that it wouldn't charge from the car's alternator or from separate battery charges despite multiple attempts. So I put it away, forgot about it for maybe 9 months, and then thought, well, I'll give it one more go, and it charged straight up. And here we are, another 6 months down the line, and it's getting a healthy reading on the battery analyzer. So it does seem too good to throw away, but would you trust it? Right. What else do we have? Well, this is, yeah, coolant and antifreeze for this car. In fact, we need to put some of that into it. That is useful occasionally. Sponge, that's rubbish. Bits of paper. What's that red thing? No idea. But those things can go in the bucket of rubbish or next to it. Stay there. Now, I did spot this little yellow thing, which does actually have some use. That is part of the electrical connector. Where is it? Is it behind here? No, not that one. It must be part of... Yeah, it's part of this electrical connector that powers these speakers, which somebody, many years before I bought this car, installed in the parcel shelf. So let's just pop that yellow thing back onto the electrical connector. Come on. Well, that's fiddle, isn't it? There we go. So now's as good a time as any to check the coolant level in the expansion tank. And yeah, look, it's right down there at the end of my finger, which is just below the minimum mark. So just as well we have a little bit left in this bottle to top it up. Now, we haven't got the funnel, but nonetheless, hopefully this can be done without any spillages. Fingers crossed. Right, so line it up carefully. And it's working. Now let's put all that coolant in, and that will hopefully take us up to the max mark. Which is just about there. So there's a bit more rubbish out the way and in the bucket of junk. And I tell you what, how about we put that battery on charge and see if the charger gives us any error messages? That could be interesting because I don't completely trust that thing. Now, the charger, last time I saw it was in the Vauxhall Corsa. Hopefully it's still there. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so the charger's now connected. Let's turn it on and see if we get any error messages. Car 12 volt. Now it should just start charging, which it has done. And sometimes in this scenario you get an error message quite quickly, but not now. Okay, well, we'll give that a bit of time and see what happens. Right, in the boot of the Micra, we also have a tube of windscreen wiper blades, some or all of which can go. So what have we got? Yeah, that's from a Nissan Micra and it's used and worn out, so that can go in the bucket of rubbish. That one is a semi-used one from a Ford Focus, specifically Mrs. CarSpyTV's Focus. We don't need the tube anymore either. But this one here is a little bit more subjective. We may need it, we may not. Now this blade here, which is a Bosch Aero Twin, was supposed to be for the Nissan Micra P12, but the company sent me the wrong size blade. This one's a little too long for the near side. So it may be completely useless to us, or despite being a little too large, it may be a workable spare in an emergency. So I think the thing to do is to fit it to the car and find out if it's worth keeping. Good plan, eh? Right, let's have a look. And if we put the proper blade and this one together, we can see that the suspect one is, yeah, it's about 1 inch or so longer than it should be. Here's a close-up. The top blade is the one that's too large, and as we can see, it's that much too long, so there is space for it on the windscreen, but the bigger issue really is whether it will interfere here with the blade on the offside of the car, and whether or not it does that depends precisely how it sits on the wiper arm. So that's the good blade off, which can sit there for a moment, and now we need to put the overly big blade on and see how it does. Okay, I think it's going to be fine, but we'll test it to be sure. Are you ready? Steady, and... yeah, that seems all right to me. Okay, good. We'll keep that blade then. Let's now check on the battery. And as we can see, it appears to be charging perfectly. Good. Now, I have mixed feelings about this old dog seat cover here, because what I do is I lie on this if I'm working under the car, but I think it may have had its day, because look, it's covered in glue that, despite being there for months, is still quite tacky and sticky. And also, where's it gone? It's covered in this orange stuff, which is something I use to fix the exhaust on the prime mirror, and this orange stuff tends to come off a bit, so when I lie on that I end up getting quite dirty. So I think, unfortunately, that's going to have to go in the bucket as well. We need a bigger bucket. Anyway, that's it. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to CarSpyTV. That makes it easier to find my other content. Can you also please do me a favour and click like on this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.